again, we'll dive into that in more detail as we kind of jump through here. But you also have everything not only on the website, but at your fingertips in the app. So if you've already, just to kind of step through here, downloaded the app, you're good to go for the showing service. So everything's combined into one for lockbox and showings. So just to look at what we're going to kind of cover today. So we're going to talk through the showing service, what's included in there, what's not included, some different things that you can get access to with upgraded plans if you choose to go that route. We'll dive into the details of how to use the tool. That's everything from setting up your preferences, setting up your listing preferences, actually setting up your listings for the showings, and kind of scheduling out how people can schedule for your appointments for your listings, as well as your kind of preferences for showings that you have and things like that. So we'll step through all those different pieces and functionality and talk about actually scheduling appointments and go through that process. So that's the kind of what we'll touch on today. And then anything kind of details we don't hit here throughout the presentation, we'll wrap up at the end, show you what resources we have available to you that you can utilize after you leave here today. So just to kind of open things up, this is basically our showing service system, right? So you have the app. So everything that you need to do is included there in the app. There's very few functionalities that you can't do in the app that you'll do on the website, but we'll direct you to your attention to those pieces. But in terms of your day-to-day operations and managing your listings and showings and all that stuff from a day-to-day perspective, that's all can be accomplished through the app. Just some of the initial setup things are only accessible through the web, and we'll talk about those. And then on the right-hand side here, that's grayed out, which isn't included in your current service plan, is the Client Connect tool. And that's an interactive tool that your client can download where you can kind of communicate with them, see what they're liking, and keep up with what they're looking at in that way, so that you can kind of stay on the same page with your clients. So that's the Client Connect tool, an additional kind of resource that you can upgrade to, not included in the initial tier that we've entered you into here. So again, I mentioned the SentriKey Real Estate mobile app. So if you've used this app for lockboxes, it's the same app. We just add a couple of tabs in there for you for the showing side of things. And so you don't have to download anything else, don't have to get any new credentials. Once you're authorized for lockbox, you are authorized for the apps or for the showing service piece of that. And so when we turn the switch on, basically for your association or MLS, and you'll get access to those pieces in the app as well. And we'll show you where those are at. In terms of your plan that you're signing on to today, so again, you get everything, pretty much all the core pieces of our products. So you'll see the check marks there on the MLS integration tier, which is what you're entering into now. The next step up is to select. That includes some additional reporting capabilities around your clients and listings and things like that, those capabilities and the kind of client interaction pieces. We also include the virtual assistant there. We call that virtual assistant SAM. It's short for SentriKey Assistant for mobile. So that if you have multiple appointments scheduled throughout the day, and something cancels like right in the middle, Sam might pop up and say, do you want me to reschedule your later appointment to move it up, and that sort of thing, so that you can get things scheduled so you have a flow of start and finish. Don't have to break up in the middle and wait to the end of the day to show that last appointment, right? So he's gonna reach out, say, do you want me to try to reschedule this for you? Say yeah, and so it takes care of handling that scheduling piece of it for you automatically, so that you don't have to manage that on your own. And then you'll see here the Client Connect app. I touched on that briefly, but again, that's an app your client downloads, and you can kind of download as well. And that allows you to kind of communicate with your client. They like things on there, and that way you can kind of see what all they've liked, and you stay on the same page with where they're at in the showing process and that sort of thing. So, and then the final piece here that is included in the premium tier is our call center scheduling. That's more of like a concierge service. You do always have like access to our support for the general, things and the things you need assistance with, for helping walk you through things. But if you want to call somebody and say, hey, can you schedule these appointments for me? They'll, go ahead and do that on your behalf for you, while you're out on the go and don't have to do it yourself. So that's access to our team, that's going to do that more concierge service type thing for you. So we're going to jump and transition over into kind of functionality of working with in our app and within the website for different things. This first section we're jumping into is only going to be found on the website, because what we're going to do first is set up all your kind of preferences. So we walk you through this, setting up your showing service preferences on our website, and that'll kind of ultimately, when you schedule appointments, it's going to put in certain defaults that you select here under the managing your account section. And then as well as when a listing comes over in from the MLS, it's going to set those defaults for every listing you have, so that they're, when they come in, they're already kind of at least set up to some extent. So we'll walk through this first section. It's under manage my account. So these are setting up your preferences. So when you go into the website, there's this left-hand main menu, and manage my accounts up here at the top. So when we select that, it jumps into these different pieces, right? So the profile settings is the first section. That's just really to confirm your email is correct and your phone number is correct. We do recommend verifying those pieces of information just to ensure that you are receiving communication from us to your email and phone number. Because if you're going to rely on those pieces to confirm appointments or get notifications, things like that, we do want to make sure that you're getting that information from our system. So verify your account information if you can, your email and your phone number. And then the account settings. Main thing I want to highlight here is up at the top right, there's add team member right here. So you can see Bob Trainer's on my team. And you can add as many team members as you want. This just helps you makes you cross-functional with other people. So if you have a spouse or something like that you'll kind of work in conjunction with everything, you add your team members, so that way you can kind of stay as one unit in here and help each other out on everything. I'll show you what that looks like on our system. Whenever you have a team member added, there'll be some screens that pop up, and we'll direct your attention to it when that time comes. And then one of the next sections here is your showing settings. So as I mentioned, you can set up defaults. So when listings import over to us, you can set a default mode when people are requesting appointments, be it go and show or appointment required, and then the maximum duration, things like that. And then for showing preferences, there's like a default appointment time frame, which would be like 60 minutes, or the default appointment type, which would be like first showing, second showing, that sort of thing. So you set up all those here on this page under the showing settings. Also under showing settings, there's a button you can see in green there that says upgrade now. So that's your opportunity to upgrade to the select or premium tiers if you want more out of the system than what we are offering up front. Excuse me. You can upgrade your tier right there using the upgrade button. There's an e-commerce site it'll direct you to pay for that transaction and upgrade your level of subscription from there. And then the final settings piece here is the notifications. So this is really just how you want to receive notifications. If you want to text or email, everything does run through the message center. So that's going to be a default for everybody. So anything that kind of comes through, it will flow through the message center. But if you're not as responsive to the message center in our app and you want it to come to you via text or email, that's another way you can kind of specify to manage it here. So you would just check those boxes off for how you want those to come through. And then feedback requests, that's your defaults if you want to receive, if you want to request feedback from showing agents, if you want to receive that kind of feedback request from them, you can designate yes or no there, and then the number of times to send it. And that's you just basically sending out feedback requests, right, from people who have shown your listings. So that's the extent of what you have to set up front, right? Now we're going to kind of jump in and transition this over. Okay, so now we've got our preferences set up. We need to start getting clients in here to kind of assign them to different listings or showings that we're scheduling and things like that. So that's the next section we're going to jump to. And again, adding clients, all the adding piece of this for the clients is going to be in the website. So if you're looking at my screen here, again, going with the core tabs here, for the showing service, that would be my listing, my schedule, my feedback, and then my clients. So my clients is where we're going to go here. And this is where we kind of add in a client to our system. Once you're done with the client, you have the ability to archive them, and that just kind of shoves them in the background. I won't delete them all entirely, so you can always go back and recover somebody from archive if you worked with them in the past and pull them back up here, resurface them. I mentioned before that we have the teams option in our site and on our system, that if you add somebody to your team, they have the ability to kind of basically do everything on all these tabs. So you'll notice these two profiles over here on the left side, you have me and you have Bob Trainer. So again, if I wanted to help Bob add some contacts for him or do basically anything in our system for Bob, I just select his name and then it adds all that. Then I'm working on his behalf at that point. So let's start with adding clients here. So we have one client in the system here. If we wanted to add another one, we just hit the add client button and then fill out these fields here. And then we can create the profile. There's also a little link here that you can see, a little chain link you see in this blue. That allows you to link two clients together. So if it's a husband and wife and you want them to kind of receive and be attached together and everything, you assign one, you assign the other. So you can link two clients together so that they get all the same information and you kind of marry them up that way. So once we add the information in for the client, we create their profile and it tells us they've been added to the roster and you can see them here on the list. And from there, we can basically combine them together as a joint unit, right, with the linking option. So now we've kind of stepped through, you got your clients in there, you got your preferences set up. So now next step we're going to kind of transition over to is setting up your listings. We're going to show you this, how to do it through the app, just because we want to kind of show you the both platforms, right? So we'll touch on how to do it in the app and we'll show you how to do it on the website because you can do this part in both sections of the app or the website. So on our app, if you probably are familiar with this, again, it's always been primarily Blockbox, but now we've incorporated showing service stuff in there, right? Nice thing with our showing service is that we kind of started with the base of everything's from the app and then, program it for the website. So it is a very user-friendly for the app piece of this. So all the functions, again, in the app are pretty straightforward and very mobile friendly. If you look across the bottom here, this is the same setup as before. Here's your message center with the envelope and that red one next to it. And the profile is just going to manage your email. You can change your PIN and password from the profile button or update your phone number and things like that, or add a picture in there for you. So that's more of the profile. It's not going to get into all the account settings that we went through before, but it will allow you to adjust some information like your email and phone number. But let's move this over to listings now. So again, everything else you're going to get to in our app is going to be up here. I like to call this the hamburger menu. It's got basically 3 lines. So if you want to think of it as like 2 buns and the patty in the middle, we click on the hamburger menu here, and this allows us to get to the different sections. So again, same theme with my listings, my schedule, my clients, and feedback. All those are showing service element pieces, right? Right now, we're going to manage my listings, right? So we're going to set up our listings. So we want to go to my listings here, and what it'll do is pull up a list of all the listings that you have that have been imported over to us from the MLS. So once they're in here, we can start managing and adding all of our specifications for this listing, the showing service. So we're going to select 6700 West Main Street as our example. And so the first section here is granting access. That's granting temporary access. We're not going to really deal with that today. That's more lockbox side of things, but you can get to that and grant all temporary access like codes and things like that for lockboxes from here. We're going to focus on setting up our appointment settings now. So let's dive into appointment settings here. And so you can see some of our different options here. So right here where it says appointment required, that's where we go to toggle. If we want to toggle to go and show property, we can select that here, make it a go and show. Otherwise, it's going to go with my defaults, which I had set as appointment required, if you remember, whenever we kind of set this up initially, right? So we're going to stick with appointment required. And now we have the kind of still looking down the menu, auto confirm showing acceptance. So this is going to allow you to set up the system to where it's going to auto confirm appointments that come through. However, there might be some scenarios where we still want some control over this, right? So we can look at the auto confirm rules and actually add our own rules in for when the system's going to auto confirm, right? So if I wanted to view auto confirm and then add a new rule, I just hit this little plus sign up here. And again, this is going to allow me to set some parameters on when the system's going to auto confirm, right? So I've got, if I don't do anything, it's going to auto confirm everything that comes through. But I can say, okay, no, I want you to just auto confirm different periods of time. So if I went in here and I set from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, I want you to auto confirm from now till, as long as I want to go out, right? So I anticipate this to be on the market for maybe 3 months or whatever. I can set up from now, 3 months to now. And in that time period, it's going to hold to these rules that we set in place. So now, once I apply this rule from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., the system will auto confirm for me, right? Because I'm going to be working all day, and I wanted to just kind of work on my behalf while I'm busy, right? So my clients are going to be at work. I'm going to be in the middle of my day showing houses or whatever. So I want to make sure that we don't miss anything. So as a appointment request comes through between 9 and 3, it's going to auto confirm those appointments. That way we kind of keep the ball rolling on all those showing requests. So I select all my parameters and I hit save, and then it adds the existing rule, right? So if we step back out of there, the next section, so that you can see that we have the opportunity to allow overlapping appointments. That's going to be more so for go and show, right? You're just going to allow it to auto or to accept overlapping appointments, or if you require appointments and you don't really care when people come in, if they're overlapping, you could certainly enable that option for it. But yeah, so that's the overlapping appointments. And then the other option here, we have a feature that is called suspend showings. So what this does is if I toggle this on, it's going to allow me to suspend the showings for this listing. So what that means is anybody who comes in and tries to request an appointment for this property, it's going to let them know that they can't, right? They can't schedule anything for it because we've suspended all showings. What it does not do is if there's already existing appointments in place, it will not cancel those appointments. It's going to assume you're still going forward and you're going to suspend from this point forward. So no future appointment request, right? So, so you will need to go back in and cancel all the appointments that are in place. If something happened like a water break and the property's just not in a condition to show right now, you'll probably want to cancel all those previous appointments, but this prevents any appointments from being scheduled so far until you get things cleaned up on the property and are back in a position to start showing again. So we'll kind of jump out of here. There's also like a feedback form that you can kind of enable, and we'll show you a different spot to do that part of it. But let's condense that menu, and we're going to look at the appointment restrictions section of this. So we went through talked about grant access, went through appointment settings. So let's talk about appointment restrictions now. So we have the ability to restrict when people can schedule and the duration they schedule for, right? So you can set a maximum showing length that people can schedule for. If you only want them to schedule for at most 60 minutes, you can do that here. Or if I wanted to change that and go out to 90 minutes, I'd select that maximum appointment length and I can adjust it to say only 30 minutes, or I want up to 90 minutes or what have you. You just select how far you want the maximum length to be scheduled. And then if we enable the restrictions here, we have the ability to view restrictions. So right now we have none in place. So if we want to add a rule, again, you hit the plus sign up here. And we can make this a timed rule or an all-day rule. So if we want to block out an entire day, if there's a specific day that your homeowners just can't have any showings happen that day, we can say, all right, restrict appointments all for this particular day. Or if we want a kind of running rule here, something that's a repeating rule from that perspective, we can say timed rule, make it a repeating rule, And so we go from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., June 7th to December 23rd, basically as long as we anticipate this property being on the market. And we kind of stick with Monday through Friday from that date range. So basically what this is going to do, in this case, this example kind of puts on display the fact that my kids get home from at 3 o'clock and they're home from 3 to 5 by themselves. I won't get home from work until about 5 o'clock. So this allows you to block off any showings from being scheduled from 3 to 5 during the day, right? Monday through Friday, because I don't want anybody to try to walk in while my kids are home by themselves and I can't coordinate getting them out of the house or anything like that. So we're just going to block off that 3 to 5, let me get home, transition from work to home life, and then I'll be able to get out of the house from that point, right? So we block off those time frames on here with the appointment restrictions. So I'd save that, and you can see that it's applied here on the calendar. We can add as many restrictions as we want to. So if I have a specific Sunday, or most Sunday, for every Sunday, I'm going to my clients, you want Sunday to be their kind of transition from weekend to weekday and getting ready for all the weekday activities and don't want to be disrupted or have to open up the house to guests and things like that. We can say block off every Sunday so that nobody can show on that on those days, right? Or do a specific date, either way. So we'll back out of this and then go back to that section here. Collapse that and then do showing instructions. So showing instructions is where we go to kind of set up all the instructions for the property. So if we scroll down the page here, you can see that you have your standard instructions. These are just check boxes, very simple things like people should remember to do, but maybe don't always do that. Like remove shoes, leave cards, turn off the lights, things like that, right? We have the ability to add lockbox instructions. So you can see here, we put a note here that the lockbox is on the porch railing. That way, when they go up to the house, they're not looking for where that lockbox is if it didn't go on the doorknob right. And then we have the ability to add alarm codes. So if there's any kind of code you want to provide somebody, again, you can put the alarm code in there with some notes on what that code is for. If it's an alarm code, if it's a keyless keypad kind of entry thing like that, you can put it in there as well. And then the final piece here, again, we will import information from the MLS. So if you have instructions in MLS, we will import that. But you also have the ability to add custom fields, a custom field in here to our system. Like, so you can see down here where it says watch for the dog in the yard. Again, just putting them on notice for specific things about this property, right? They need to be watching out for, right? So you have the ability to kind of add some custom text into our system here as well. So we established all of our showing instructions for this property and we're all set there. So let's, the last section here we'll transition to is managing your contacts. So manage your contacts from here is basically setting them up with how you want them to receive notifications from our system, right? So if we click on a listing agent, it gives us the ability to select how they're going to confirm appointments or how they want to be, how you want them to be notified of confirmed and canceled appointments, things like that. So you can have them notified via email or text messaging. Again, so you select those preferences from here and then save that. And you can just kind of click through and set it up for all of them, right? So we update all of our, that's how we're going to manage our contacts from here, right? We're just specifying how they want to receive notifications, but you're going to bring them into the system from the website. All right. So now we're going to kind of look at the, so we looked at how to set all these restrictions and things like that from the app. So let's take a peek at that from the website. So again, we're still operating and managing our listings. So we're going to go under My Listings here on the website, do that. So we go under My Listings. And when you select a property, now you get this kind of tabular page here, right? Where we're going to jump through all the different settings. So you have all your appointment settings, which is going to include like your auto confirmation, your add restrictions, and your appointment modes that you want to specify that how people are going to schedule. So then you kind of get to that next section here. Again, I'm not going to step through every single one of these, but same concept, to add things, there's buttons there clearly labeled out. To suspend showings, you can do that from here as well. So we're just going to highlight these things as we kind of step through this, but just show you the different formatting here, right? So here's the instructions. Again, standard instructions, your lockbox instructions. Again, if you wanted to put in, on the porch railing or something like that, tell them where the lockbox is, your alarm code, and then any sort of alarm instructions you want to apply there. And then this is the field where you would actually custom type what you wanted to for this for the showing instructions for that one. Under contacts, one thing that I'll note here that wasn't displayed on the app is the ability to add a co-listing agent. So if you're looking here on the website, there's the ability to add a co-listing agent here. So if you have a listing agent you kind of pair up with on this listing, you can give them the opportunity to receive all the notifications as well as confirm appointments. So somebody that can actually help you out here. And as another note, again, you see the teams option here. So if I wanted to click on Bob Trainer, I'd be able to here set up his appointments, doing his instructions, all that stuff if I needed to do that and help out a team member. So again, your team, anybody you add to your team would have this option here on the left-hand side to select their team members and help them manage things from here as well. But you also have the ability in here, and you've probably seen this if you're ever done the release of shackle and step through more settings, there's the ability to enable homeowner notifications. Again, you can specify that here and add the homeowner notifications if you want to from this screen as well. You want to edit a client, delete them, that's all done here for managing your clients. So we're going to step through this. So speaking of notifications like you have here, there's another section here on the website. Again, going across the tabs where we have the ability to send out notifications to a mass group of people, right? So this is your communication tool in our application. Under the showing service, I can broadcast the message to agents that have shown the property, everybody in my office, copy to all listing agents and co-listing agents, basically people who've seen this property already or scheduled for it. And I can send out a mass communication. And so I select the message type. If it's going to be like price adjustment or something like that, just put a subject body here, just like an email. And then I can send off my communication to the broad mass communication sort of tool right here. So once I send it off, it says it's successfully been sent and we're good to go. So, let's I guess we'll kind of switch focus here. We're going to kind of switch to feedback, right? So we're going to talk about enabling feedback and what that looks like on our system. So this is all, again, part of setting up your listing still. So under the hamburger menu, we go down here and we can go to feedback. I can look at feedback and create feedback for my listings or my showings. So I know these right here, none of them I've created feedback or enabled feedback for. So when I go to select it, I can enable the feedback, and these are the required. This is one required question you have when you enable it. Is your buyer interested? And then once you kind of get through that, you go to the next screen here, and you have the ability to add optional questions. That's have them rate the exterior, overall, floor plan, interior conditions, and value. And then we could specify the number of times that we send the feedback request. So if I have it at 3, that would send them feedback request and send them 3 requests to complete the feedback for this property. So the way our system works is we'll send them a feedback request after they complete the showing. And then we'll send it again the next day, and then the next day after that, right? So we give them 3 total feedback requests, and hopefully from one of those, they'll actually respond to the feedback and give us a rating here on the property. So we select all those, we designate the times. The maximum number of times that we'll send out a feedback request is 5 times. We don't want to be too overbearing here. And then we save our feedback form here for that property. Again, this is under each listing individually. Here's the look at doing that on the website. So we enable the feedback. These are the required questions. We can select our optional questions. We can drop down to select the number of feedback requests to be sent. We can go up to 5 again, and then save that. And our changes are made. So now we have the feedback enabled option for this property. So looking at the next tab here is appointment history. So this gives us just an overall look at the history of what's been going on with this property, how many schedulings we've had, how many showings we've had, or how many times things have been scheduled on this property. Is it a first showing, second showing, what have you, what stage they're in right now, if these are pending or confirmed appointments and things like that, right? So that just gives us a nice little look at the history of what we've been doing here with this listing, something good that you can kind of showcase to say, all right, here's where we're at here with this property. Sticking on the theme of feedback. So we talked about setting up feedback for the property. So let's talk through actually giving and receiving feedback and where you're going to go look at that, right? So we go in the hamburger menu like we did before. We select the feedback option here. And so now it gives us now that we have these in here and the feedback enabled. So before you saw it, it said the feedback form wasn't completed. Now it's completed. You can see the results here, right? So we see that for this property, we have one new feedback. If there was feedback that was sent but not completed, then it would show as pending, right? So under my listings, I can go in here and click any one of these and dive into the feedback given. And it gives me the kind of rating points here and any sort of comments they provided down here at the bottom, so that I can kind of keep tabs on what people are saying about my property, right? And then if I can go to my showings here, and this is one that would be an example of feedback request has been sent to you and you just haven't completed it yet. So I can go in here into the system and select the one that's pending review here. And I can check off my boxes and rate the property that we showed, add any comments there, and then submit the feedback. So as mentioned before, you can do everything you could do in the website, you can do in the app. So again, if we're in the website here, we'll kind of touch on this under the website. So we go under my feedback on the website, and this gives you a more kind of look at overall. Again, if you have team members or something like that, they'll show up here. You can click in and view their feedback and things like that as well. So if we're in here, this kind of breaks it out. So you have my listings, and then here's more. So you have the ones up here that have been completed, and these are still out pending for review to the showing agents. So if we want to view feedback that's been submitted, we just hit view feedback. You do have the ability here, if you note at the bottom, to forward it to the client from there. So I can forward this feedback to the client just to keep them in the loop with what we're receiving on this property. And then if I transition over to my showings, again, this is going to show me feedback I completed, and the feedback is still pending my completion, right? So I can click on here and do submit feedback. Pops up this window here. I select my ratings on this property, and I can go ahead and submit that. So that's under my feedback on the website. Same labeling for the website to the app so that you're not getting confused there. Going back to our tabular form here under my listings, we went through appointment history. We could also look at activity. So activity gives us a more nice little graphical view of where we stand with things, right? So there's been 6 total appointments on this property. So far, we've only received 1 feedback. It gives us a nice little graphical trend of the activity. So this allows us to kind of pinpoint, maybe we put the property on the MLS up first. We had some high activity here. There's some down period. Maybe I sent out the notification on our system with some communication to the masses, basically. And maybe this will kind of help us see what activities we did and what type of activity that generated on the showings, right? So this is the more kind of reporting tool of being able to see what's going on, right? And then this kind of summarizes the feedback we're receiving, if it's overall good, bad, or could be better. So again, that helps us keep track of that under the activity section on the website. So we talked through managing your listings and setting up your preferences and kind of getting the listings set up. So let's transition over to the next step here, which would be actually scheduling appointments. So you're acting as the showing agent, right? So talking through scheduling appointments, we'll start with the app and then and show you how to get things scheduled here. And then we'll kind of jump back and forth in this section, right, to show you both sides of things. So again, with the app, everything starts with the hamburger menu here at the top left. So when we click that, we go to My Schedule. And then from here, we have two options: schedule a showing and build a daily showing itinerary. So I'll show you both, but we're going to start with just scheduling a single appointment. So if I do schedule a showing, it brings up the select a property. So then I start typing out the address and it drops down and I can select it from here. And now here's the opportunity to assign your client. So again, we have the client linking. So if I select Rooney Star Fox, who's maybe linked to Marley Golden, it would apply both if I selected one, right? So they link the clients together in that way. So when I select a property I want to schedule a showing for, I select my client. And so from here, we set the date and the time, the duration, and the appointment type, be it a first showing, second showing, or what have you, right? And then we hit schedule now. So now it says it successfully requested the appointment. And now we can see this on our dashboard. So it kind of pops you over to the dashboard after you get done scheduling. So it shows what status it's in. So this was scheduled for today. So far today, I've got this one appointment on the calendar, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. So obviously you have to wait till that gets confirmed before I can actually go and conduct that showing. So that's my way to kind of keep track of what status we're in for that, right? You can look at that across your showings, across listings you have, and then across everything, combine the two together, right? But this just helps you break it out. The showings I have versus listings I have helps you break it out to one or the other. So let's transition over to the website and show you how to schedule an appointment from there. So again, from the website, same thing. We're going to go to My Schedule. We're going to do Add Appointment. Once I add appointment, I start typing the listing address here. It drops down with the closest match as I keep typing, and it'll narrow that list down. Then we select it. Again, we're going to select a client here for this. So we select, again, Rooney Star Fox. And we select our date and time for the showing. So we say 3 o'clock. We select our duration. These fields will be filled out if you set these preferences up front. If you don't set the preferences, you're gonna have to select it every time before you can actually schedule it. But we'll go ahead and select the duration and the appointment type. And then we'll hit schedule now. So once we hit schedule now, again, you can see it gives you that confirmation that the appointment request has gone through. And again, here's where the dashboard comes into play, where you can see what's out there, what's pending, what hasn't been confirmed, what has been confirmed, or what's been canceled. So that's what the dashboard looks like. We'll dive into that a little bit more later. But let's transition over here. So we talked about scheduling a single appointment. And let's go through building an itinerary. So we're going out with our clients, let's say tomorrow, and we're going to try to hit up 5 different properties in the process. So let's get those all in more of an itinerary format, just blast out requests for all the properties at one time. So again, we start here with the hamburger menu. We go to My Schedule. We do Build Daily Showing Itinerary. Instead of scheduling a showing, which is a single appointment, we build an itinerary here. So if I select Build Daily Itinerary, again, I select my client. And then I select my date and time. And then I can select my starting location. So at the starting location, you could do your current location wherever you're at when you generate this request. You can select an office address, or if you want to type out and start a custom address, if you're going to pick up your client or something like that, you can type out an address to start from. So we start building the itinerary, and we'll go ahead and add properties to the list here. So if I add and I start searching and then my results come up here, I select it. My showing defaults here, add it to the itinerary. And I keep adding properties. If I accidentally hit the wrong one and select the wrong property, I do have the ability to swipe on this to delete it. And I can delete that off the list if I select the wrong property. So once you get all your properties in there, what you'll do is go ahead and create the route. So you hit the Create Route button at the bottom. So it kind of breaks out your day, right? So our system is looking at the different properties on the route you want to take, and we use this information from like a map tool, right? To schedule out what the best route to take is. You can see here that 9:45 is this appointment. There's 32 minutes travel time. So we need a little buffer gap between these two appointments. So I'm sorry, travel time from starting property to here. So we're going to start at 9 a.m. Travel time is about 32 minutes. So we want to put a little buffer zone in there in case we're running behind. So we put a 9:45. That ends at 10:15. There's about 4 minutes here between these to get from here to here. So we're going to, our system's kind of building that in there, travel time in there, so that we're not overlapping appointments right on top of each other and buffering them up too close when you're building the itinerary. The other thing you could do here is if you need to break for lunch, let's say it's 11:30, we've got here, if we want to add a break in for lunch, we can add a break in. Select the duration. If we want to kind of spend an hour at lunch or something, just to review what we've been through, we add that to the route. And as you can see here, your time break gets entered in here, and then your next appointment kind of goes about 30, gives you about 30 minutes to get from lunch spot to your next appointment. So after we're done there, and everything looks good on our itinerary, we go ahead and request the showings. And it tells you success. We've sent off 3 requests for today. So now you can see on your dashboard, it's been thrown on here for tomorrow. We have 3 appointments out there. None of them been confirmed yet, but we'll give that some time and hopefully that'll be confirmed. I keep kind of checking back on the dashboard to see if those have gotten confirmed yet, so I can ensure my day is stirred up for tomorrow. So that's doing it from the app. Let's go and look at how this looks on the website. So again, we're going to the same process, right? So we're adding an appointment here on the website. And then instead of adding the address in here, we can do build itinerary instead of schedule it now. We'll do build itinerary. Again, set our starting location and our start time, going off of what we selected over here. And then we start building. So once you get that first property in there, we can start adding additional properties in, add to itinerary, select our preferences here. And again, keep adding more and more to the itinerary here. So now we've got about 4 or 5 here in the itinerary. We can create the route. So what this does on the website is it actually has more space on the website, so it can actually pull in the map just to give you a visual of what that route's going to look like for tomorrow. So we have our different stops built into the route. Our route is planned out here by durations, and it gives you, again, the system does calculate in travel time, so it gives you about 15 minutes over what the travel time is before it schedules the next appointment. So you got 5 to 6, and then 6:30 to 7:30. That sort of thing, right? So it just kind of calculates that time frame out for you, so you don't have to do all the math in your head for that. So once we have everything in the itinerary, it looks good for us, we go ahead and request the appointments. And done. And then so that again fires off, and you'll see those reflect on your dashboard as far as they're confirmed or pending still and that sort of thing. The final way to schedule an appointment is if you are in the MLS and you find a property that you like and you're just going to schedule a single appointment here, or you could do an itinerary as well, either way. But if you're in the MLS and you want to kind of link over from the MLS to our site, we do have that integration piece. That's the implication of the package you're coming on to, is the MLS integration. So in the MLS, you'll find these different icons. You might be familiar with this sort of view here in the MLS. But these icons are your different options to link over to different systems, right? So we have this one here, which is our lockbox service. Don't get that confused with our showing service piece, right? So if we're on the listing in MLS, we're looking for this yellow icon with the person in the middle, that's Sam. So if we want to go ahead and schedule directly from the MLS, what we do is we click on Sam there, and then that pops over here into the schedule piece to add an appointment, right? So that information and everything comes up in the search there. We add our client, and then we add the duration and appointment type if those defaults aren't selected already, and the time. And then we can go ahead and schedule, hit the schedule button. So it just kind of pops all the information over into our system to pull it up, so you don't have to do all the searching. You just link right over from MLS to our side, and go ahead and schedule from there. So we talked through the setting up your listings feedback section. We talked through the actual scheduling appointments. So now let's go look at managing, confirming appointments and all that stuff. It's kind of where we're transitioning to now. So looking over at the app, let's start there. We go to the hamburger menu. I'm sorry, take that back. We're going to start on the website here. So under my schedule, you have the options between dashboard and calendar views, right? So the dashboard here is what you're looking at. Again, you can see the dashboard from the app. And we're going to focus on the website just because it's bigger and easier to look at from here. So let's look at what talk about what we're looking at here, right? So this is the dashboard, what we have going on today. Again, for showings that we have one appointment here that's on the books, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. So there's probably some action I need to take to get that confirmed up. I'll show you where you can go to actually resend the request and things like that. But again, this is the look at everything in general. And then we see the showings on my listings. So if we want to dive into each one of these for showings we have, if I click on show, or we'll dive into those in a second, but through here, you can toggle between today, tomorrow, and then in the past. So those are different, shows you all the statuses for today, tomorrow, and in the past. So in the past, when you're looking at this, perhaps there's some showings that you had that didn't get confirmed up, so you couldn't go show them. So you might need to come back to this list and see what's happened in the past already that maybe you need to reschedule or get back on the books for tomorrow or another day, right? And then same with showings on your listings. If there's 5 appointments never got confirmed, maybe you need to kind of go back and follow up and with those agents that scheduled those and see if they're ready to come back out. So hopping through this, each section individually gives you a better look at, kind of breaking this out. So if I look at showings I have here, again, this is where I can go. And if I have 2 appointments not confirmed, I can go in here to resend request. So I just select the button and go ahead and resend that request. If I click on the appointment, it kind of gives the option to edit the details. So if we're too close to the appointment time and I've already put something in that place, I can always edit the appointment and schedule it for a different time or just go ahead and cancel it, right? It's just so I can get my date in order for tomorrow. And if I transition over to showings on my listings, I can see these. And again, here's where I can go and review the request or click on the listing itself and edit the appointment times if they have a alternate suggested time, or if you want to cancel, you can do that from there. But if I want to review the request, I can do that. And then the final section here is the appointment details. So this is the same thing as these 2 tabs here, but we're selecting date by date. So not just today and tomorrow or past. We can actually go through here and select each day and see what's on the calendar for each day in a granular day by day view and review from here as well. We do have another option for that calendar view. So this may not kind of suit that whole calendar view. It's not giving you a broad look at a whole month or anything like that. It's just looking for day by day on a calendar. So if we wanted to go to my schedule, we have the ability to go there and do that. So under my schedule, there's the dashboard and there's the calendar view. So this is what you're looking at right now is the dashboard view. If we hit calendar view, it takes us over to a calendar. And the calendar gives us more, kind of a more detailed look. So you can see on Thursday, I have these 2 plus 2 more. I can't see all of them and the times that are going on. So that's why I can switch over to week to look at those. But you can click in any of these from the monthly view. And then if you want to get more details on it and export this out to somewhere to be able to put in like a document everything that we've got here. This allows you to kind of do that from the calendar view. But we can also transition over to the weekly view. And the weekly view gives you a more rundown, right? So I know on Friday, I'm going to have a busy day because I'm starting about 1:30, 2 o'clock, and it's going to take me all the way through 9 o'clock till I'm done and back home, right? So the weekly view is a good tool to let you kind of map out week by week what you got going on for that week and what days you've got time gaps and you need to fill or something like that. So that's the calendar's view of this. So next section we're going to kind of dive into here is accepting and editing appointments. So if we're going to stick with the website again because it's just bigger and easier to look at there. But again, you can do all this stuff in the app as well. That's all under my schedule piece where you kind of dive into those different dashboard views and everything else like that, right? Again, everything sticks with the same theme, my schedule and that sort of thing. So we're going to stick with my schedule for managing, accepting, and editing appointments. So if I go to my schedule and select dashboard, it gets me to this page here. I can transition over to showings on my listings and I can review the request. So if I hit review request, it's going to pull up the showings to approve the showing or confirm or deny that. So when I hit review request, this little window pops up and I can click to confirm the appointment. Shows I confirmed it, and you can see now it pops up from pending and goes to confirmed. So that's kind of an immediate update on the dashboard. And I can go through and just kind of check off my spots here on the dashboard of what I need to accomplish for getting everything set up for showings on your listings. Going back to the appointment details section, again, if you want to go into appointment details and select day by day what you got going on, again, you can go from here and update appointments that you have, cancel appointments if you ever need to do that as well. Final page here. This is just going to be kind of more of a talk through summary piece, but we talked about the ability to help manage team schedules. Again, if you're managing team schedules, that's all going to be done on the website. There's not really a teaming aspect on the app right now. So if you're working through and helping your team members out, again, that's going to be done through the website. As far as brokers, office managers, office staff individuals, if you have assistants, things like that, clicking on the people in their office, so they will see everybody, everybody's profile on the left-hand side that you saw when you had somebody on your team. They'll see all those individuals, and they kind of help manage stuff on the showing service side that way. They also have the ability to grant keyless access. So for agents coming in from out of area, or for affiliates and appraisers, whoever doesn't have key access on the system, they have the ability to kind of help manage and give out codes or whatever that needs to happen for the properties. So again, that's all the same. That's a lot of more lockbox related stuff. Same with auditing agent accesses. Again, that's more kind of lockbox related stuff. But again, the brokers, office managers have access to both the lockbox services and showing services on our system. And there's some reporting capabilities that they can get to on our site as well. To get to the reporting capabilities, there's a tab for the brokers and office managers that up at the top of the website, there's a tab that says reports. And when they click on that, it allows them to pull various reports and kind of get an Excel document of these reports, so they can kind of help see and manage things like that from that perspective. So I know we covered a lot of pieces today, stepped through a lot of screens. We try to keep this as fast and efficient as possible. I tend to run a little bit longer than most on the demonstration side, but I just like to be more thorough and kind of talk through this as much as possible. But I'm sure there's some things you'll leave here today and can't remember how to get to or do exactly what we showed today. So we just know that we do have resources and support resources that help you out as you move forward and get closer to your launch date if you haven't gotten there already. We have our SentriLock support line. The phone number you see on the screen there is specifically for showing service support. There's a lockbox support number, and there's a showing service support number. So the lockbox support number is the 58-5800. On the showing service support, it's 513-618, but 5814 instead of the 5800, right? So 5814 is the direct out or support for showing service questions. If it's not something that needs an immediate response, you can always email our support team, showings@sentrilock.com. They can answer any questions through email as well. They are available 8 a.m. to midnight Eastern time, 7 days a week. We have a whole slew of videos that our marketing team has created, some nice videos for kind of walkthroughs on the showing service and how to do these different things we showed you today. So if you go to that link there, vimeo.com/SentriLock, and you can get to our page full of video tutorials. And finally, we have our help website. So sentrilock.com/help. That's something that can be accessed from a mobile device or from your computer. And if you go to that site, it's kind of like a click through. So you select the topics. So if it's like showing service related, you'll select showing service. And then if it's like scheduling appointments or whatever it might be, canceling appointments, all those things, you just click topic by topic, and it gives you that step-by-step instructions on how to execute whatever you're trying to do. So those are the resources that we have available to you. That just pretty much wraps up what I wanted to discuss with you today. So I appreciate your time and patience with getting through this. So Ashley, if there's any other questions that you kind of seen, I don't see any chats up there, so it doesn't look like any questions come through, but if you have any questions, let us know. We'll be happy to answer those. Ashley?
Yeah, no questions so far, but we'll hang a few minutes to see if any come across.
Okay. Very good. Well, we certainly appreciate you and the extending things with SentriLock, growing out to the showing service side of things. And we certainly look forward to working with you going forward on this side of the equation. So we're excited to have the opportunity to combine both Lockbox and showing service under one roof. Hopefully you'll find that's a lot more easier to work with in one application as opposed to going to multiple applications to accomplish all this. So feel free to let us know if you have any questions, but we certainly appreciate you. And that pretty much wraps up everything we're going over today. Thank you very much, everybody.